All right, my algebra class, let's go ahead and begin. We're solving the equations. I know this one's going to be 0 and positive 5 because when I separate these, 12 to the t has to equal 0 and t minus 5 will equal 0. When I do that, I know I have to divide by 12 by both sides to isolate my variable. That leaves me 0. And I have to find the opposite of negative 5 to bring over to isolate my t, which is going to give me a positive 5. Number 7, 4 is yours to do. I'm going to have to go ahead and take, this would be 2a minus 6 equals 0 and 3a plus 15 equals 0. When I bring the negative 6 to the opposite side, that's going to make it a positive 6. And then when I divide by 2, 6 divided by 2 will be 3. Over here, I'll have to take the positive 15, subtract 15 from both sides. That'll give me a negative 15 over here. Then I'll divide by 3 to isolate my variable, and negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Number 8 is for you to do. Number 11, I have h minus 8 twice, which means I'm going to get one answer, which has to be 8, because the only thing that will give me 0 subtracting 8 would be a positive 8, right? Number 12 is for you to do. Number 13 says I've got z times z plus 2 times z minus 1. Well, I know 0 has to be one answer because 0 has to equal 0 here. I know that negative 2 has to be an answer because 2 minus 2 will equal 0. And I know 1 has to be an answer because 1 minus 1 is 0. So we're going to get 0, negative 2, and positive 1. Number 16 is for you to do. Moving on. Number 19 says fill the x-intercepts of the graph. When I do this, I see that y equals x minus 18 and x positive or plus 18, which means my answers have to be 8 and negative 8. You see, I'm going to have to put y to 0, and I have to put each of these to that 0, right? So this would be x minus 8 equals 0, and x plus 8 equals 0. I have to find the opposite of negative 8, which would be positive 8. 8 plus 8 will be 8, so x equals 8. Over here, I have to find the opposite of positive 8, which is negative 8. This will give me x equals negative 8. Number 20 is for you to do. It says factor the polynomial. If I factor this, I know 5 goes into 5 and 45, and z goes into z squared and z. So when I factor this, it should be 5z times z plus 9. 5z times z plus 9. All right? Let's go. 22 is yours to do. Now it's 23. I see that 3 is going to go into both of these. So I'll factor 3 out, and then I'll factor y to the second power out. So this would be 3y to the second power times y minus 3. 3y to the second power times y minus 3. All right? For those that didn't quite grasp that, I'm just going to go over one of these. I know that 5 and 45, when I factor them out, this will give me 5 times 1, right? And I could take 1 and multiply it to 45 over here. I can also remember that other factors of 45 will be 5 times 9. And then, of course, another factor could be 15 and 3. So I could put also a 3 over here and a 15 over here. These are all the factors that go into it. The like factor right here is 5, right? Is the greatest common factor. It's in both of them. So that's where they got 5 from. And then z squared and z, that should be self-explanatory, because z squared equals z times z. And z by itself is just z. So that factors out 1z. So that's where they got 5z from. And then you can see what's left. Remember, 5 times 9 is 45. So the 9 is brought over there, and there's 1 z left over. So the z comes here, and the 9 comes here. All right, 23 you should be able to do after me explaining that. Let's move on. So solve this equation. If I solve this, it says 4p to the second power minus p. I know I can factor out a p from this. So it would be p times 4p minus 1. I remember that I have to put everything to 0. So with p here, p has to equal 0. And then I have to remember that I would be taking this negative 1 and bring it to the opposite side, which would make it a positive 1. And then divide it by 4, that would give me 1/4. So my roots are 0 and 1/4. 28 is for you to do. 29, so solve the equation. If I do this, I can factor out a 5 that goes into both of these and a c that goes into both of these. So 5c times, and what's left is 5, because 5c times 5 is 25c, and 2c, because 5c times 2c equals 10c to the second power. Now, c has to be 0, because remember, 5c has to be 0, and the only thing that I can multiply to 5 to get 0 is 0. And then over here, I would have to go ahead and minus 5 from both sides. That'll give me 2c equals negative 5. And then I'll have to divide 2 away, which will give me negative 5 over 2. 30 is for you to do. 33 says describe and correct the error in solving the equation. Well, they said 6x times x plus 5 equals 0 is going to give them x plus 5 equals 0. And then they have to subtract 5 from both sides, so the root is negative 5. This part's true, but let's not forget, x also has to be 0, because over here, we also have 6x equals 0. And so we have to divide by 6 to get x by itself, which means I have to divide 0 by 6, and 0 divided by 6 is 0. So there should be also 0 as a square root. So the other factors, 6x should be also set equal to 0. Then each equation should be solved to get 2 roots. And as you can see, x should also be 0. All right, I believe 34 is for you to do. And that was all the homework I gave you. I'll see you in class for grading and for review of Chapter 7 quiz. Have a great night.